What's up, y'all? I'm back out here at the range, as you can see behind me, on a cold, sunny morning. It was below freezing when I first got out here this morning. Temp's only supposed to get low 50, so it's definitely going to be a chilly day for some testing. But that ain't going to stop me from getting a couple of good ones done out here today. I'm starting things off with a little bit of 223. So as you can see, we got the jelly contraption split up again this time. I've got the bench and chrono down here, and then down at 50 yards this time, we've got a couple of blocks of gel. There you can see two nice clear blocks with a heavy clothing barrier on the front that's got that layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And then back down here at the business end, we've got the star of the show for this one. As you can see, it's the Barnes VOR-TX solid copper expanders. This is their 223 55 grain with that TSX flat base. Now the ballistics on this is saying 3,240 feet per second at the muzzle, which is moving on pretty good, but that is out of a 24-inch barrel according to their info. There you can see your cartridge, brass case with that solid copper expanding projectile. Now, personally, when I think of copper projectiles, copper expanders, Barnes is usually one of the first ones that comes to mind because that's kind of their specialty, is solid copper expanders. Now, again, those ballistics were from a 24-inch barrel, but y'all know me, I always like to shorten stuff up out here. So I've got a couple of shorter barrel lengths, shorter than 24. For the shortest one, we've got my 10.5-inch AR here, the Virginia 15. And then for the longer one, I've got my Angry Joe AR15 with the 16-inch barrel. And now both of these have a 1 in 7 twist rate. So this should be another good one. I don't have any doubt we're going to see some really nice performance in the gel. It's a 223 after all, a solid copper expander. You're pretty much guaranteed good performance. The big question here, I think, is going to be what kind of velocity we see. So let's get it all set up and find out. All right, let's see what kind of velocity we get out of this stuff. I'm going to do a 5-round average from each barrel length, starting with this 10.5-inch first. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with this lab radar, we are going to see multiple velocity readings. The large number is right here at the muzzle, and then I've got 5 additional readings across the bottom. I've got those set for 10 yards, 25 yards, 50 yards, which is where the gel is, 75 yards, and 100 yards. Now, remember, the velocity on this stuff is saying 3,240, but that was from a 24-inch barrel, so we most likely will not see that here. But I'm very curious to see what we get. 2477, 2501, 2445, 2435, and 2473, so definitely not the 3,000 plus. Let's see what the average was. All right, so our 5-round average right there was 2,466 feet per second. We had an extreme spread of a 66 with a 26.6 standard deviation, so definitely not the 3,240, but again, 10.5-inch barrel. I got a feeling that 16-inch is going to improve it quite a bit, but let's get it reset and see what happens. All right, let's see what this extra barrel length does for it. Again, I got a feeling this is going to speed it up right much. Let's see just how much. $28.10, $27.03, $27.50, $27.27, and 2753, so definitely a good little improvement right there. Let's check out the average. All right, definitely more velocity right there, but that spread opened up on us too. So we had a 5-round average there of 2,748 feet per second. Our extreme spread went to 107 with a 39.9 standard deviation. So again, that's a pretty good extreme spread. For whatever reason, maybe it wants that longer barrel length to do what it needs to do. But 2748 here, and if you remember on that 10.5-inch, it was 2466, so you're talking about 282 feet per second difference. That's a pretty significant difference in my book. Now, as far as that, what that's going to mean in the gel, it's probably going to mean the penetration difference, basically, is what that's going to mean. One's going to get more expansion. Obviously, this 16-inch is going to expand more, so it's probably going to have less expansion unless less penetration unless it overexpands like we sometimes see, and then it'll have more. So it's kind of a toss-up, but if I was going to guess, I would would say the 16 inch is going to expand more and penetrate less. But let's get everything set up and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's the barrel ain't as long, but it should still perform strong. Jelly time. We'll put one from each barrel length into the gel, starting with this 10.5 first. Hopefully I can put this thing where I need it to be with this old red dot. All right, I don't think I even hit the thing. Let me go see what I got. All right, y'all, I must be going crazy out here. That thing hit perfectly fine. I was wondering how I could manage to miss the whole doggone block down there, but I just didn't see much movement, so I was wondering what the heck was going on. But let's see what we can do with this 16-inch barrel. This one should be give us a little bit more action down there. All right, we definitely got more action from that one right there. Let me go check it out. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. Not exactly what I expected to see, but pretty close. Now, I had to flip you over. You're looking from the top here. This is the top view, so down there on the board, that's what you would have been looking at. So this one on the top here, that's the one from the 10.5 inch. As you can see, both of these did a great job, first of all. This one comes in here, no doubt, immediate expansion, very nice energy transfer all the way through this block. It tumbles around somewhere, I would say probably at the end of its travel, because none of this disruption really looks like tumbling, and it's actually barely touching the end of this 16-inch block. So not as much penetration as I thought you would see from this, because it did get about the expansion that I figured it would. And then up under that one, of course, that's the one from the 16-inch. Basically more of the same, just more of it. Big energy transfer right here. Very nice disruption all the way through this first block. Goes into the second block, probably about 4 inches or so, and you've got some fantastic expansion on this. So a lot more expansion than that 10.5 inch, and more penetration, because it just brute forced its way on through there. And so as far as the penetration on it, again, this one from the 10.5 inch is exactly 16 inches of penetration, and then the one from the 16 inch is exactly 19.5. So absolutely fantastic penetration for both of those. And here's your closer look. Again, 10.5 inch on top, 16 inch on the bottom. Big energy transfer from both of those. Obviously, it's a 223. Like I always say, you can't really go wrong with 223. There you see that 16 inch, very nice expansion. And then there's the expansion from the 10.5. Pretty hard to see from the top, or what would have been the side, so you can see why I flipped you over. But once again, just really nice performance from both of these barrel lengths. All right, let's take a look at these projectiles. Definitely a couple of nice looking little copper nuggets here. You can probably obviously tell which is which. This one is from the 10.5, this is from the 16 inch. You can tell big difference on expansion here. You can just see how much of the base is still there and how much more expansion and a larger mushroom you got there. Now, that being said, I definitely like the performance from this 16 inch more, but this 10.5 would absolutely do pretty much most jobs you'd be looking to get done. But let's get us a few measurements on them. As far as the weight, they started at 55 grains. This one from the 16 inch is 55.0 grains, so right on the money there. This one from the 10.5 is 55.2 grains, so absolutely nothing lost from either one, and I didn't expect it from solid copper expanders. And then as far as your sizes, we'll do this one from the 10.5 inch first. You got 0.40 and 3/8, so nice even expansion right there. And then this one from the 16 inch, you got 4/80 and 4/82, so once again, very nice even expansion from that 16 inch barrel. And there you go, y'all, the Barnes VOR-TX loaded with their TSX flat base solid copper expander. Definitely some nice performance out of both of these. That being said, I have seen far better performance as far as velocity and energy, and really even in the gel, I wouldn't say better, but just as good or better, because again, 223, 556 in the gel. I mean, I can't really remember one failing right off the top of my head, so you're pretty much guaranteed to get some good performance, at least decent performance, and this this is good performance, but again, I have seen far better. So I think really in this case, it's probably going to come down to cost and which one you could get a better deal on if you're looking for a solid copper expander, because again, I have seen far better options, but I have also seen far more pricey options. All right, y'all, I'm gonna call it right there for what was another pretty good 223 test. Again, it's really hard to get a bad performing 223 5.56 round. Even just plain old FMJ is more than likely gonna get the job done when you're talking about that kind of velocity and energy. But like I said, as far as this copper expanding stuff, this did a good job. Nice performance in the gel, and it would most likely take care of whatever situation you might find yourself in. But I have absolutely seen better performance even out of copper expanders. Matter of fact, I was actually looking through my stuff when I got these out getting ready to test them, and I realized I actually have some TSX loaded by Ammo Inc. also. So I'm gonna test that and see what kind of velocity we get compared to this right here. And then I've also got 2 or 3 different solid copper expanding loads from Defiant Munitions that I've got to test. I'm sure those will definitely be good stuff. But let me know down in the comments what y'all think. Any of y'all out there run this Barnes VOR-TX with these TSX for defensive use, for hunting use? Do you run some other kind of solid copper expanding round? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed the video, take a second if you would and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you've got those notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload stuff. Take a second if y'all would and check out those affiliate links in the video description. All kinds of good stuff down there, and anything you pick up, I get a kickback from them toward the channel, so I really appreciate that. Thanks again to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I've got one more test planned for out here today, so stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.